dad and uncle and I farm together. My share of it's 400 acres, but we farm 1,650 acres altogether. We have 800 acres of soybeans and 800 acres of corn in our operation together. We got approached with the idea of planting seed beans. And now my dad and I's share of the operation is about 3/4 seed beans for Stine. And that's how we really got in with Stine, and then we just started planting Stine corn, and now we're 100% Stine. We started playing with Liberty beans as soon as they became available, and we were really pretty impressed with the weed control. The other thing is, by just running Roundup corn, I don't have to put anything in to get my volunteer corn. So I believe 3 years ago now, we switched to 100% Liberty beans and have been really, really happy overall with it. You have to learn to adapt with the systems you have, and there's a few things with Liberty that are different than Roundup, but Roundup seems to be harder and harder to get to work every year. Liberty does a real good job as long as you can be timely and as long as the weather's in your favor. And most of the time when you're spraying beans, it's warm enough for the Liberty to work really well. We've knocked most everything down without a problem. We just went to being 100% Liberty just because that way we didn't have to clean the sprayer out and switch back to Roundup or anything. That's the biggest argument I hear from guys as far as getting them to try Liberty is, well, I don't want to have one field that's something different I have to spray on it. So we just went all the way. We've tried some of the HP varieties in 30-inch corn, and I pretty much came to the conclusion that I believe you need to push the population on the HP varieties, and in 30-inch rows, there's only so much you can push the population before you start causing yourself problems. So we decided to hop on board with the Great Plains twin row planter, and as of the way things look right now, it was a smart decision. The planter, as far as its planting ability, the job it did placing seed and so forth, it was excellent. It's a new experience when you're planting corn plants that are a foot to 13 inches apart versus what you're used to in 30-inch rows, even though you're planting it as thick as you are, you know. The corn looks real good. The ear size seems to be, you know, it seems like pushing the population, we didn't shrink our ears any, so by having more population and the same size ears, we ought to have a lot more yield out there. I actually had to go in and spray some of mine again, and we had to go on some of our 30-inch corn too. And I was just hating it that I was gonna have to go drive on that twin 20 corn. But really, after I did it, I liked spraying through it better than the 30-inch corn, because at least where I run over the corn, there's still a corn plant right beside it in the twin 20s, where in the 30 inches, I just wiped out part of a row and now there's a 60-inch gap. So from that standpoint, I was really impressed. That was something I wasn't expecting. The way that we've been impressed with the emergence, the ground cover, you know, a lot of the things with the twin 20, we anticipate probably going fully this way. We're just a farmer dealer. We're not a big dealer by any means. We just sell a little here and there, and I just like the relationship, having the connection more with Stine and knowing what's going on. They've just been good to deal with, I guess, for the most part. You know, and it's just a little different route than just buying your corn from any company. You know, I mean, there's always the argument that, well, corn's corn, it's in a different bag. Well, to a certain extent, I'd say it has been that way in the past, but it appears we're headed to a different time where it's going to depend on what that company's end goal is, whether it's, you know, the HP breeding a shorter plant, whether it's, I mean, there's some companies that are looking at a bigger plant, you know, I mean, and you're going to just kind of have to decide what you think works for you. And Stine's worked real well for us, real well. I choose Stine because Stine has yield.